call of Abram. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household, to the land I will show you, and I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you." Now, remember, in the last episode, in the last video, I was reading. They made the Tower of Babel, and so everybody would have one language and hide from God and do as they please and call themselves, name themselves. And God didn't want that, because then, there'd be all sinners and all, righteous people in one place. God cannot have that. So God, and also God is creative. We all know this. This is one of his greatest natures. God decided to tear down the Tower of Babel, so everybody and all their languages were spread and confused across the globe. So then we would actually be able to live life, and we would be able to actually confront the sins instead of living blindlessly beside them our entire lives. So yeah, let's continue. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. That kind of sounds like my life right now. And all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So Abram went, and the Lord had told him, and Lot went to him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out to Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all his possessions they had accumulated, and all the people they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan. And they arrived there. Abram traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Moreh at Shechem. At the time of the Canaanites were in the land, the Lord had appeared to Abram and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he went onward to the hills to the east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abram set out and continued toward the Negev. Abram in Egypt. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe. As he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Then they will kill me, but will let you live. Say you are my sister, so that I will be treated for your sake, and my wife will be spared because of you." I don't remember this part of the Bible. This is where it gets crazy. Then Abram came to Egypt. The Egyptians saw that Sarai was a very beautiful woman. And when Pharaoh's officials saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his palace. He treated Abram well for her sake, and Abram acquired sheep and cattle, male and female, donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. But the Lord inflicted serious disease on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife Sarai. So Pharaoh summoned Abram. "What have you done to me?" he said. "Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife." So, nowadays it's backwards and twisted the absolute opposite way. It'd be like, "Oh, I have your wife now." But the reason why this has happened, God has inflicted a disease upon the Pharaoh because the Pharaoh has taken his wife, sinning when he knew he was not, when he didn't know. He didn't know that the wife that was that Sarai was Abram's wife. So, but because of because of the scriptures saying you must not take somebody else's wife, God had to put a disease on him anyway, whether they knew they were sinning or not, because this is a lesson to them. This is not supposed to be done. Therefore, whether they knew that, whether the Pharaoh even knew it was his wife or not, it's still, you're not supposed to take somebody else's wife, period, or you will get a disease. Because when God said two flesh become one, when you find your wife, you're supposed to stay with that wife. God will, that's God's power. If you get a disease, if you get a sexual disease, STD, this and that, it's because God inflicted that upon you because you were doing something you're not supposed to. You take her and go. Then the Pharaoh gave orders about Abram to his men, and they sent him on his way with his wife and everything he had. Abram and Lot separate. So Abram went up to Egypt, to the Negev, with his wife and everything he had, and Lot went with him. Abram had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and gold. From the Negev he went to the place, from place to place, until he came to Bethel. To the place between Bethel and Ai, there was his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. There Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, but the land could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together. And quarreling rose between Abram's herders and Lot's. And Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land at the time. So Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herders and mine, for we are close relatives. Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go on the left, I'll go on the right. If you go on the right, I'll go on the left." Lot looked around and saw that the whole plain of Jordan toward Zoar was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose himself. So while one story's going on, so I never knew this in the Bible. While one story's going on, or while they're telling about something that's going to happen, they're talking about something that's happening before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what's really cool. It's like a pre-sequel. It's awesome. But so Lot chose for himself. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of Jordan and sent out towards east. The two men parted company. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, "Look around where you are, to the north and the south, to the east and the west. All the land that you see I will give you, and of your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth." Where was I? so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. So Abram went to live near the great trees of Mamre, the Hebron, where the one second. So yeah, go walk through the length and the breadth of the land, and the breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you. So Abram went to live near the great trees of Mamre and at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. The Lord built an altar, where he built an altar to the Lord. Abram rescues Lot at the time when Amraphel was king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim. These kings went to war against Barah, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Sinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bala, that is Zor. All these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is the Dead Sea Valley. For 12 years they had been subject to Gedorlaomer. But in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer, and the kings allied with him out and defeated the Rephites, the Ashtaroth, and Karnaim, the Zuzites, and Ham, the Emites, and Shavah, Kiriathaim, and Horites, on the hill of the country of Seir, as far as El Paran, near the desert. Then they turned back and went to Ed Mishpat. This is Kadesh. And they conquered the whole territory of the Amalekites, as soon as the Amorites who were living in Hizon Tamar. I will say it again. They have the coolest names back then. Why can't we have the same? Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bala, that is Zor, marched out and drew their battle lines in the valley of Siddim against Kedorlaomer, the king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, the king of Shinar, and Arioch, the king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits. When the kings of Sidon, and it kind of reminds me of today's world, they're gathering a lot of kingdoms just to destroy each other, for each other. Like, it's insane. That's how world war is going to happen. They're going to be half the countries against half of the other countries. Gomorrah fled. Some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled into the hills. The 4 kings seized the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their food. Then they went away. All also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. A man who had escaped came and reported to Abram, the Hebrew. Now Abram was living near the great trees of Mamre, the Amorites, a brother of Eshcol and Aner, all of whom were allied with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative has been taken captive, he called out 318 trained men born in his household and went into pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abram divided his men to attack them, and he routed them to pursuing them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the woman and the other people, after Abram returned from defeating Kedorlaomer, and the kings allied with him. The king of Sodom went out to meet him, the valley of Shaveh, that is, the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, the king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of God Most High. And he blessed Abram, saying, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, the creator of heaven and earth, and praised be Most High, who delivered your enemies into your land." Then Abram gave the tenth of everything. The king of Sodom and Abram said to Abram, "Give me the people and the goods for yourself, and keep the goods for yourself. Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself." But Abram said to the king of Sodom, "With raised hand I will give sworn an oath to the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or a strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, 'I have made Abram rich.' I will accept nothing but what my men has eaten and share that belongs to the men who went to me, to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them have their share." The Lord's covenant with Abram. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. "Do not be afraid, Abram. I am your shield, your very great reward." But the Lord said, "Sovereign Lord, what can you give me, since I remain childless, and one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus?" And Abram said, "You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir." And the word of the Lord came to him, "This man will not be your heir, but a son who is your own flesh and blood will be your heir." He took him outside and said, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them." Then he said to him, "So shall your offspring be." Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteous. He also said to him, "I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it." But Abram said, "Sovereign Lord, how can I know that I gain possession of it?" So the Lord said to him, "Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, and each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon." Abram brought all three of these to him, cut them into and arranged halves opposite of each other. The birds, however, he did not cut them in half. The birds of the prey came down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. As the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him. When the Lord said to him, "Know for certain that for 100 years your descendants will be strangers in a country that's not their own, and that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves. And forward they will come to you with great possessions. You, however, will not go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. And in the 4th generation, your descendants will come back there. The son of the Amorites has not yet reached his full measure. For the sun has set and darkness has fallen. A smoking fire pot was blazing, torches appeared to pass between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said, "To your descendants I will give this land of Wadi, of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, and the land of Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites." So, in this section, God was, at nighttime, when the sun has fallen and stuff, the blazing torch appeared to pass between the 2 pieces of the calf, or calf and calves, whatever he made, as a covenant to God. When he split them in half, he put them on either side, and a torch passed through it, and that was God's covenant with Abram. The Lord's covenant with Abram. So, that was that one. So I gotta get a good thumbnail for that. Next will be Hagar and Ishmael. Alright. So, that was, after this was during, the time of, Sodom and Gomorrah. This happened, while Sodom and Gomorrah was going into war and was, being defeated. This is the first time I've actually been able to understand, what is actually going on during the times of Abram and Sodom and Gomorrah. So, that was that. I will see y'all in the next clip.